Hello everybody, welcome into Ghost Racing Network, where we are here at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway, for some FEG-PC money racing. And we are getting ready to get started here. Drivers finishing up qualifying. You see the flag man waving a checkered flag there. A couple guys wrecking as they come to a stop. And a bit of a smaller field tonight, but it's going to be a great race nonetheless. And we are certainly excited. And that, sure enough, is going to finish up qualifying. So we are now going to work our way down to the starting grid. Once these guys pop up, we'll get more into it. Let's get started, though, with your race info and more on your race info. Excuse me. It is the Daytona 100 tonight. Looking at the weather outside, it's going to be 78 degrees Fahrenheit, 55% humidity, partly cloudy skies, and wind is at 2 miles per hour. Race format, we're on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series for 40 laps here tonight. 100% fuel, unlimited tires, one fast repair, and as always, it is going to be fixed setups here in the FEG-PC Money Racing. Looking more at the track itself, Daytona is a 2.5, I guess 2.48 to be exact, mile super speedway tri-oval. Temperature on track right now is at 103 degrees Fahrenheit, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue for these guys as they get to it here tonight. Jump now into your starting grid here, and it looks like your pole sitter tonight going to mix things up a little bit. None of the Dale Cup guys are here, I don't believe. So you're not going to have your usual Steve Korsak, Zach Renema sitting on pole, but it's going to be John Ward from McCall Motorsports sitting up there in the front row. And just next to him, it's going to be his teammate Ron Morris Jr. in the 76 truck. Row 2, is going to be Dylan Jones and Ken McCall Jr. with Daniel Everhart and John Ellis making up row 3. 7th is going to be Kevin Fraze. 8th, Jason Maines. 9th is going to be Austin Floyd. 10th, don't worry about it, I'm not actually there. I just accidentally joined as a driver. 11th is going to be Nash Brambilla. 12th, Chad Ross. That's a Team 3 driver. Moving back down the field here to 13th, it is going to be Mike Toomer. 14th, Danny Escherman. And rounding out the 15th position, it is going to be Matthew Patton. But, of course, we only have 14 trucks, so you might as well move the spots from me on back up one position. Go down trackside here. We should be getting ready to roll off now. We'll show a little bit more love here to pole sitter John Ward. This guy, we know he knows how to race, but again, figuring it out here in qualifying tonight, and he is getting ready to go. I always mention it, but one of the things I love about Daytona is the camera angles, and we are going to need them all for the racing these guys are about to put on. A lot of them just came from another money race, and they were going 3 and 4 wide, so these guys are still a bit jittery, and they're going to have to make sure they settle in early because 40 laps, that's enough time. You're still going to have to make at least one pit stop to see what happened. Looks like Duck Duck Goose is in here. Says, good evening, Austin. Good to see you. How you doing, Duck Duck? And Michael Triscaro says, where's all the drivers? Well, a lot of them might just be tired, chilling right now, so we don't see as many as we're used to seeing in here. But if you would have came in here on a Friday or Saturday, I bet you would have found quite a few. And we do have some different teams in the field. I would say the main 2 teams, though, tonight is going to be McCall Motorsports and the team that consists of Garrett Mange, Jason Mange, John Ellis Jr. I think it might also be Dylan Jones and Daniel Everhart, but Team 3 is going to try to throw their name into the mix. And we will see how it all pans out. And on top of that, you got a couple solo drivers as well looking to see if they can maybe steal or make something happen late in the running. It looks like BB's also in the chat. These guys out here. We got a couple Ron Morris Jr. fans, and he is going to be starting second. This is a really good qualifying effort from Ron as well, but they're going to have to be watching out for some of those power hitters sitting in the back. They're going to be looking to go from the drop of the green. If you are just tuning in, get comfortable. You see track temps actually already gotten a bit hotter. It looks like it is currently somewhere around 3 p.m. during the day, and that is getting close to that hottest part of the day, actually just around the hottest part of the day. So we'll see what track temp does from here. But as they work their way through 3 and 4, we are getting ready to go green. 40 laps here at Daytona. It's going to go by fast, but not too fast. Everybody's going to have to make that pit stop, and that's where we will see the strongest team prevails. All right, here we go. The pace car working its way off turn 4. Down to the apron it goes. John Ward and Ron Morris Jr. row 1. Dylan Jones, Ken McCall Jr. row 2. Into the Geico restart they go. Green flag is out at Daytona. Pretty good jump, but look who is already 3 wide. It's Jason Maines and Chad Ross. I'm not sure if Ken McCall Jr. missed a shift or what, but they are going to swallow him up quickly. John Ward, meanwhile, continues to lead the field down into turn 1, and then it's Dylan Jones and his wingman, Daniel Eberhardt, sitting behind. Boy, John Ward has got to be a sit duck right now. These two are getting ready to go around him on the backstretch. There goes Dylan Jones. Will Daniel Eberhardt follow? Sure enough, he does. John Ward is going to throw a little bit of a block, though. Here you see these guys snaking back down to the bottom. Ken McCall Jr. leading that top line that's sitting pretty far back. He's got John Ellis Jr. and Jason Maines on his back bumper. Looks like Kevin Frey's sitting back just a little bit. And, you know, I wouldn't think we're going to see these guys sitting around too long here because there's just, with there only being 14 trucks, you really don't see a need for all these guys to sit back too long. Unfortunately, it looks like Nash Brambilla must have had an issue. He was not able to start the race. He's not in here right now. We'll see if he can get in here. But John Ward is going to lead him through lap 1. Dylan Jones, Daniel Eberhardt still hanging behind. Ron Morris Jr. still on the outside. Nobody's giving him help. That makes me wonder. These guys should all be good to make it on one stop without having to try too hard. Any fuel saving strategy, that is. And now Daniel Eberhardt going to jump to the outside of his teammate Dylan Jones. And he is going to get a push here from Ron Morris Jr. And now Kevin Fraze is actually going to jump up, beats the 76 to the punch. He will be the pusher for Daniel Eberhardt. Kevin Fraze, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, this guy, he is probably one of the best pushers you're going to find in the field tonight. And right now, the 90 of Daniel Eberhardt has him behind. Kevin, I almost think Kevin likes to maybe push more than he likes to lead just because he's so good at it. But no, of course, he wants to win this thing. And it is a top 4 payout tonight. And right now, those top 4 looks like would be Daniel Eberhardt, Kevin Fraze, John Ward, and Dylan Jones. But McCall Motorsports, they might sit back a little bit early, look for them to try to make something happen late. I mean, they do have John Ward currently leading. Oh, one turn of the pack. Kevin Fraze gets turned around. Slides down. Jason Maines is in it. Chad Ross, Mike Toomer. And this is an early wreck that we didn't expect to see. I'm thinking this may have been net code. It almost looked like the 25 truck kind of jumped. But I'm not sure. We're going to have to go back and take a look at it. And these guys all have a fast pair, but a little early to have to use it. Let's see if we can see what happens. We're going to go to the chopper view here before we take a full look at it. Ooh. Boy, that thing really turned around quick, though. Actually, it looks like maybe he was getting a push here. That's Ron Morris Jr. in the 76. And, ooh, it looks like there definitely was contact, it looked like. At least from the views that we can get. See if we can get a better angle here. Looked like Ron Morris Jr. definitely got into the back bumper. You see the 76 truck. And from that view, you see right there, it almost, so he does get into the back bumper, offset on the left. That starts to turn around, and it almost looks like it gets amplified by netcode and like shot the 25 around quicker than he would have went around. But either way, once it turns around into the middle of the pack, a lot of these guys know where to go. You see Dylan Jones and somebody up there still tangled together. They're both trying to gather themselves. Danny Escherman, there's the 32. That's Mike Toomer. He did not have anywhere to go. Jason Maines slides in. I don't think all these guys are going to have to use their fast pair from it, but certainly some of them are going to have to take a couple more shots of it here. Brings out your first caution. Now, I want to ride on board next with Ron Morris Jr. We'll do that in just a second. He also got some damage sustained in that. Actually, let's ride on board with Kevin Fraze, and then we'll ride on board with Ron Morris Jr. because I want to see how this looked from Ron Morris Jr.'s point of view. right, here we go. Back this up just a little more. All right. Definitely looks like from that view he hooked him, and now we'll watch the steering here of Kevin Fraze, the guy that got turned around. Yeah, man, that thing came around all at once. He didn't even have a chance to hold on to it. Doesn't matter how quick you can react. You're not going to be able to react to save that one in time. Let's go back live and check out how your front five are looking, and it looks like it is going to be John Ward, the pole sitter, still sitting out in first, and Ron Morris Jr., the man that qualified second, still sitting out in second. I'm not sure. I was just going to say, I'm not sure if he had to use his fast, but it looks like he hasn't, though. As you see, does still have some significant, maybe medium damage on that right rear, a little bit on the front end, and then it's going to be Matthew Patton in third. Saw this guy in the last race. He is currently up 12 positions from where he started. Daniel Eberhardt fourth, John Ellis Jr. fifth, Jason Maines sixth, seventh, Danny Eshelman eighth, Dylan Jones ninth. It's going to be Team 3's Chad Ross. Kevin Fraze, man that got spun around initially in that incident, he has used his fast spare and he is back out and ready to go. You have to be a little cautious though now, unfortunately, which he probably didn't want to have to do. Austin Floyd 11th, Ken McCall Jr. 12th, and did NASCAR Billy get back out on track? It looks like he has, so he currently sits 13th. And then Mike Toomer Jr. in the 42 machine, currently sitting in that final 14th position. See John Ward warming his tires just a little bit. We should be getting the one to go signalless times. It looks like Dylan Jones, Daniel Eberhardt, they figured they're already at the back. They might as well top off, so that's indeed what they're going to go ahead and do. And we will look to see the lights go off. There they go. Ron Morris Jr. is going to be on the outside. Matthew Patton's going to line up on the inside, and we're only 6 laps through, so not even a quarter of the way through this race, much less half. And I wonder if we'll see these guys settle down or continue to go at it. I think if you still have a fast pair at this point, and you know some of the guys that don't are going to be conservative, I think you stay aggressive here and you still go for it. However, I think if you did use your fast pair, maybe you sit back here for just a little bit, see if maybe we can get into that window where you have to pit, come out with your team, and then you can get racy when it matters. And that pit window, they still are going to have to pit, of course, with 6 laps, but they're going to have to take less fuel. So, I mean, anything you can save here still helps, but if anybody was borderline on fuel, they certainly won't be anymore. It is going to be a solid stone one stop at this point. Appreciate everybody that's joining in here tonight. Again, kind of a smaller race, a little bit of a smaller field, but one of the things to bring up, and I believe I did put it on here, let's go ahead and bring that up real quick because these guys are getting ready to go, is the race that FEG-PC has coming up next week. You see it there, the Worldwide Esports. Is that new? I believe it's a license now, but either way, let's talk about the race. It's a $19 entry. Look at the payouts, and let me tell you, this isn't one of those things where, oh, well, that's only if he gets this many people. He's got a lot of people right now. In fact, I am signed up for it myself, and I'm getting excited for it. Always like to see races that kind of remind me of the Podium 500 in sense of low entry, a lot of guys, and a chance at big money. You see it first 600, second 300, third through, well, it looks like another handful of positions, all 200. Actually, yeah, third on back to 10th. 200. So make sure you get yourself in that, and that will not be broadcasted here on Ghost Racing Network, but wherever it is, go check it out. All right, here we go. John Ward leads back into the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Ron Morris Jr. only has one truck behind him. That's Austin Floyd, but John Ward quickly going to pick up his teammate as they go outside now back to the inside. And just as quick as the restart happens, everybody's lined up. This is not going to last for too long, though. Give these guys about a run to the backstretch. You'll see them start really getting 2x2s. It looks like we already had a couple people jump out of line further back. Chad Ross did end up using his fast pair. I think he tried to go without it, but realized that wasn't going to work. And if they're single file, I think you'll see this gap close up, but they start to get double file like this right here. Ooh, man, the 68 looking a little unstable off the front bumper of the 3 truck. That's Matthew Patton. And these two are going against a couple of the best. And speaking of a couple of the best, here's more than a couple of the best. And they are getting racy back here. Jason Maines has a couple teammates. That's John Ellis Jr. behind him. Kevin Fraze trying to work his way back up to the front. There goes Nash Brambilla. But it looks like Dylan Jones content to stay tucked behind John Ellis Jr. right now. He is not going to make a move, at least not yet. That's Danny Eshelman. Look to see him think about going to the outside. Ken McCall Jr., he likes to hang back here early, let everybody get settled in, and then he will make his way to the front. John Ward still sticking out front down the Daytona super stretch. Ron Morris Jr., that's his teammate. You know he's not going to make a move on him right now. I think the guys you look to make a move is going to be one of the three behind. And just as I say that, Kevin Fraze is going to be the first one to make that move in the 25 machine. And I thought maybe he'd chill out a little bit, knowing that he already had to use a fast pair. That's not the case. He is right back to that outside line. And he is looking for help here from Austin Floyd to get to the front. Ooh, wow, that 68 truck is blinking. He's got a little bit of damage now, but 3 looks high. Ron Morris Jr. is not having any of that. He looked like he was going to throw a block. Man, this 68 truck, he's really struggling with the internet right now. Kevin Fraze, I think, saw that. He said, no, thank you. Jumps back in line for now. Further back to 23, that's Nash Brambilla. Joined in late, but here he is. Got his laps back under that caution. And he is ready to stay out front and get racy with these guys. The driver out of Plymouth, Minnesota. Show me the money. John Ward from Volstead, Georgia. The 76 of Ron Morris Jr. You know, that damage, you know it's not going to affect him in the draft at all. And I don't think he uses a fast pair if we go green flag pit stops. But you got to wonder, if he tucks out of line, does it start to hurt him a little bit? And I'm not sure, honestly, whether it does or doesn't. But back here, this was a lot of the guys that had used their fast pair. Not all of them. Some of them are just guys that work with these guys, and they're all hanging back right now, but it looks like a cluster. That's Daniel Eberhardt, Ken McCall Jr., all these guys, Dylan John. I mean, they're 3 wide back here. The main pack is pulling away. I'm not sure what's going on right here, if we got some games going on or what, but let's look at the dashboard, the speeds. 178, and then here's Mike Toomer Jr. Looks like he chose not to use his faster pair, and that has got him by himself, only now entering turn 1, and he stays out. That pack is going to catch him and put him a lap down. The good news would be is it looks like he would be the only truck in danger of going a lap down, at least for a little while. So if we get a caution, he could very well get back on the lead lap. But John Ward still out front. They are trying to separate, and I took down the track map, but I should have left it up. You see that little gap? They're trying to separate now from the second pack. Austin Floyd at the tail end, but Danny Escherman, he's not going to let them slip out of his grasp just yet. Him and Dylan Jones have linked up, and they are pulling away from Daniel Eberhardt, Jason Mange, John Ellis Jr., Ken McCall Jr., and Chad Ross, who's rounding out everybody in that second pack. And it looks like they have gotten in the draft. Remember, you have to be within 1.5 seconds to catch a draft. And it looks like the distance between Austin Floyd and Danny Escherman is at just under a second. And that is why they are catching so quick. But John Ward has led them all so far, and he would like to lead 30 more of them. And Ron Morris Jr., man, he got a bad bump from the 3 off the corner. You can't push the pusher. And boy, that was a heck of a save from the 76 to 23 Nash Brambilla. He is going to take full advantage of it. Goes to the middle. Now he tucks down behind Kevin Fraze. And the 3 truck of Matthew Patton, it looks like he's going to back off a little bit, catch his breath as well. Jumps down now in front of the 6 of Danny Eshelman. Man, that got really, really dicey for a second. Ron Morris Jr., the good news was he got turned down and not up, so he had room to save it. Didn't have to worry about running to that outside safer barrier. The 3 truck looks like he still wants to stay aggressive. Matthew Patton, I believe he's one of the newer guys here arriving to the money racing scene, but he's getting after it quick. He's got to be careful, though. Again, he's still got a pretty clean truck. You don't want to tear that thing up. You got to save it for the end. And I think I expect to see pit stops somewhere probably in the around lap 30, give or take a couple laps, depending on what kind of strategies these guys want to try. But I think actually some guys are going to try to do a short pit, so we might see pit stops even earlier than that. These trucks on 100% fuel should be able to go somewhere around 25 laps. And that would actually put us at lap 15 if they wanted to go in. So I take that back. I misread that wrong. So that would actually potentially be in a couple laps if we see some early pit stops. And that's where you're going to see the separation of the teams. Ken McCall Jr., I think he's hanging back here because he wants to make sure he can pit with some of these guys being Daniel Eberhardt, Dylan Jones, Jason Maines, and John Ellis Jr. And I think Chad Ross is following him on that strategy. Remember, if you're in front of him, it's going to be a lot harder to read him and pit with him. But if you're behind him, it's a lot easier to do so. We've seen some games, though, with guys trying to fake out each other. We'll see if we see any tonight. Here we go. First round of pit stops is underway. It's going to be the McCall Motorsports Group. And just as what I thought Ken McCall Jr. was going to do, he is going to do the opposite of. He sticks with his teammates here. Looks like they all get a pretty good entry, assuming nobody gets a speeding penalty right here. These guys are going to have to be really fast on and off because there's a lot of trucks still on the track, and they don't want to lose too much time. And this should just be a fuel, maybe 2 tires, 2 left side tires, if you will, stop. And I don't even know if they took lefts, but they definitely took out fuel. They should be good to go the rest of the way. And they are now back out on track. We're going to be coming to 25 to go here in just a couple laps. Up front, Kevin Fraze is your new leader. He is still out on the track. We'll see if he decides to pit this time. And if he does, how many guys does he draw with him? NASCAR Craftsman second, Austin Floyd third. And no, they're going to stay out. Ooh, looks like Mike Toomer Jr. is making his way into the pits. That truck looks to be still heavily damaged, and he is really slow getting into the pits. Not sure if that thing maybe finally went kaboom or what. But NASCAR Craftsman looks like he's still trying to push Kevin Fraze pretty hard. And he knows if they can make the lap time now, this is their chance to pull away. The good news here from the McCall Motorsports Group is the separation, if you will, between some of these guys. The 68, the 3 there really sagging back. NASCAR Craftsman having to work extra hard. They're just not running nearly as fast as they would be if they had 3 guys that were really tight together. Kevin Fraze right now is probably going, come on, guys, I need you to get tighter so we can make some progress. I mean, you saw right there, 178 into turn 3. Let's go back, compare that to John Ward and McCall Motorsports Group. I mean, right now, they're only in turn 1, but actually, they've got a couple of damaged trucks, and they are also not that tight together right now. Somebody's going to have to figure something out here, or nobody's really going to make any progress, as it looks like that's Mike Toomer Jr. He used his fast repair now, and he's back out on track. Fortunately, he is not on the lead lap. But these guys tied it up. Oh, Kevin Fraze is going to go to the high side. I'm not sure if NASCAR Craftsman forced him up there, or if Kevin wants to dip out of this. And just as I say that, NASCAR Craftsman goes to the high side, jumps up in front of Kevin Fraze. That's an interesting move there, but it looks like they're going to stay like that. I'm not sure. Maybe they're both trying to drop to the back. I know Kevin might be wanting to link up with his teammates. Jason Maines, John Ellis Jr., who are currently sitting in the back. Daniel Eberhardt, Dylan Jones, they're still out on track as well. And do we see any pit stops this time? It looks like no, we don't, but we're going to see the 3. Matthew Patton, he is going to pull to the top side. Look at the battle for first. Austin B. Floyd currently winning it. Second, Danny Eshelman. Third, Dylan Jones. And fourth, Matthew Patton. These guys have kind of gotten back to side by side. Sometimes that lets you run a little bit faster than if you weren't. And check it on how this gap currently looks. Remember, the gap, or the race, if you will, is going to be between John Ward and Chad Ross. And the good news right now is the McCall Motorsports Group is continue to close the gap. It's not by a huge margin, but it's slowly. And with these guys still having to pit, any margin that they can close up is going to potentially put them out in front after pit stops have all cycled through. The 3 of Matthew Patton is going to fall to the back now. The 68 of Austin Floyd takes the lead. He does have some front end damage. That's going to slow this group down as well. Let's go back and ride on board here with Jason Maines. See if these guys are, they shouldn't be full throttle here, but you got to wonder if they're saving anything. And you see Jason managing a very reasonable gap. Look at his RPMs. You see they're hanging below 7,000. Actually, a little bit, looks like maybe 6,600 RPMs. Let's compare that. If you go back here to John Ward, who's going to push from his teammates, he's a little bit closer to that 7,000 mark, and RPMs translates to speed here. Bump drafting, the name of the game. And by the way, if you're curious, the manufacturer split here for the field tonight. Looks like it is going to be mostly dominated by Chevys, as it usually is here whenever we do a truck race. But right now it's a Ford leading, a Ford in 4th, and 1 Toyota in the field currently in 9th. That's NASCAR Craftsman. 22 laps to go here at Daytona. We're still awaiting a pit stop from this group right here. They haven't gone in yet. I guess if you really think about it, maybe somehow, some way there's a chance that they can make it all the way on field, but I'm just not seeing it. If they save a lot, let's see, we went. Yeah, there's just no chance that these guys can make it on field, so they definitely will still have to pit. It's just a matter of when. You see track temp has increased a little bit more now at 114 degrees. Wind, of course, is not variable. It is at 2 miles an hour, and it is coming from the north. Weather outside still 78 degrees Fahrenheit. And handling has not really looked like an issue so far here tonight. But you never know. Some of these guys, if they don't get tires on this next pit stop, that is where they can lose time. Remember, the apron here at Daytona is a lot flatter than that at Talladega, and you have to stay on that apron until you get to the backstretch. That is where you'll be able to merge. But guys will lose a lot of time. Speaking of losing a lot of time, McCall Motorsports Group has really closed in now on this front group. They have it down to 26 seconds. It was over 30 seconds the last time we checked on them. They're doing something right now, as it looks like they have brought Mike Toomer Jr. onto the back of this pack as well, now that his truck is no longer damaged. And I was going to do a crank it up segment right now, but I got to think pit stops are coming shortly. We don't want to accidentally do it during the pit stops. And I'm very surprised to see drivers such as Dylan Jones, Daniel Eberhardt, the fact that they haven't pit so far and that they're not really getting any more aggressive than they currently are. They're costing themselves a lot of time, and you got to wonder if maybe they're going to cost themselves too much time, and McCall Motorsports might come out the victor here with the top 4 payout. If the strategy worked out for those 3 trucks that already pitted, they would have guaranteed money in the top 4, and then it would turn into a battle of who gets a better pit stop between all these guys. But remember, everybody that's sitting in the back here burning less fuel, their pit stop's going to be a little bit shorter, even though they're all taking the same general stuff. They might have to take a little bit less fuel. And I think right now, some of the guys in the catbird seat is going to be Daniel Eberhardt, John Ellis Jr., Jason Maines. Those are the guys that I noticed saving the hardest. Dylan Jones as well. And further back, Chad Ross, Nash Brambilla, they all kind of backed off. They had had enough for now. And here we go. We're going to see some pit stops. No, just one. Oh, that's Austin Floyd. And he makes a mistake by going by himself. He may have had to, but boy, that is not what you want to happen. When you go in at a drafting track such as Daytona, you're trying to drag in at least 2 more guys with you. That's the only way you're really going to maintain speed. And if he doesn't tag on to the back of the group that's already pitted right here, he is going to be in a world of trouble. And to make matters even worse, oh man, he overshoots his box, and he's going to have to back it up a couple times. That is looking like that might end his night, as there goes the McCall Motorsports group, and that shows you just how much time they made up. Up front now, it's going to open it up to Danny Eshelman, Dylan Jones second, Daniel Eberhardt third, Kevin Fraze fourth. Jason Maines rounding out the top 5. 19 to go, still no pit stops. We're coming to 18 to go. And at this point, I think everybody that is staying out is going to try to all come together in one group. We'll see if the Maines team, Kevin Fraze, all those guys can figure out a way to maybe split these guys up. Like I said, try a fake, but you got to be careful doing that too. You don't want to accidentally slow up too much or get some contact, get turned around the wrong way. Looking back here towards John Ward. Remember that gap that we told you was 27 seconds? Well, guess what it is now? 20 seconds with 18 laps to go. They continue to close that gap vigorously. And while these guys continue to just kind of sit single file, I think now's a good time to do a Daytona crank it up. Here we go. And that's going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. 16 laps to go, and Man, I continue to second guess myself here on whether these guys are going to pit or not. Maybe, like I said, maybe there is a way they're good on fuel, but it's really confusing the heck out of me right now. But the McCall Motorsports Group is going to get here if they keep staying out like they are. So at this point, I almost got to, believe these guys are just committed to that strategy. But I'm trying to think, we went green we hadn't even completed 10 laps when we went back green. So that's over 30 laps on fuel that I didn't think these trucks could make that much. But, actually come to think of it, maybe these guys could make 32 laps on fuel. And if that was the case, then it would be really close on fuel. And that might be why these guys are staying out this long. The pace is really slow, but that would make a lot more sense. So, although I probably confused half of you by thinking that we were going to have a pit stop with these guys, and I thought I confirmed it when I saw the McCall Motorsports Group pit, I might be taking it back. They may not be pitting, and that's why we saw so many games being played for who wanted to lead. Danny Ashman is, of course, now leading, but the McCall, just as I say that, John Ward gets spun by one of his teammates, and he is going to slide back out on track. Ooh, tags the outside wall. This is surely going to bring out the caution. Truck stopped on track. No, it doesn't. Very surprising. He gets that thing back below the apron. But, man, that's a rough break for the 92. These guys were catching, too. Looks like Ron Morse Jr. is trying to push him in the tri-oval, and he just tags him in the left side. Can't do that. And that sends the 92 for a spin. You see he gets back up track here. These guys get it back together. Ron Morse Jr. That might give him a little bit more damage as well. But, like I said, it did not bring out the caution. That is going to end John Ward's night without a caution now. And you got to wonder, did McCall Motorsports guys have enough now that might have broke them up? And no, they do still have 3 guys with Mike Toomer Jr. They did lose some time, though, and they're still losing some time, so they're going to have to get their act together quick before it's too late. Danny Eshelman, it looks like he may have actually, did he choose to pit here? It looks like, no, he's just fallen back in the pack. He said, you know what, guys? It's my turn to save some fuel. Y'all can go up there and lead a couple. And that is what pushed Dylan Jones out to the lead. Daniel Eberhardt second. But with these guys, I don't think we're really going to see any crazy racing until the end, because we know now that maybe they're closer on fuel than we initially thought. So I think everybody's going to stay out here, make sure they can go so that when they want to race, they can race without having to worry about that fuel mileage. I wouldn't be too surprised here if we see Dylan Jones maybe shuffle back eventually. But right now, him and Daniel Eberhardt controlling the field. Kevin Fraze, Jason Maines. Once it's time to make a move, watch those two. And also John Ellis Jr. to make a move. And then the 3 trucks behind, those are the solo guys. We'll see how they can play into the mix. And also how many of these drivers are good to go on fuel. I mean, they've all been saving really hard, but that doesn't necessarily secure your ticket and mean you're good to go. Looking back on the McCall Motorsports Group, now they're starting to wind it back down slower than it had been previously. But if they can get there, they're going to make these guys have to race a lot harder than they wanted to. They're still sitting just under 9 seconds back. So they're going to have to hurry it up a little bit now. Yep, just under 9 seconds. They have to get to 1.5 seconds before they're going to be locked in this draft. But they are certainly making time as quick as they can. Nash Brambilla looking to the high side. He might be ready to go. He might think he's good on fuel. He's going to try to make these guys start working for it. Looking at your track map, you can see there's the lead group, the McCall Motorsports Group. Not too far behind. They're just entering turn 1, so they're about a pair of corners behind. And then if you go all the way to the back here, you will find Austin B. Floyd and John Ward. Austin Floyd came in by himself. That's why he's back here. And John Ward, unfortunately, got a bad shot from his teammate, and that is why he is back here. The gap now looks like it's extended back out. That means his front group is starting to pick up the pace, almost up to 10 seconds. Between the last truck in this line, Matthew Patton, and the first truck in the next line, which I believe was Mike Toomer Jr. Mike Toomer Jr. or Ron Morse Jr. Nope, it is going to be Mike Toomer Jr. And these guys, it's looking like their chance of money tonight might be over. Now we see Matthew Patton. He is starting to look to the top side. Everybody else still staying pretty tucked and tight to the bottom. At a certain point, if you have enough teammates up in the mix, you got to think that the teammates are going to start racing each other. But I know a lot of these guys split money, so if that's the case, then there's really no point in racing each other. You don't want to have anything accidentally go wrong, but we'll find out. 10 laps to go. We're coming to 9 to go. I think action will really pick up either on the second to last lap or on that last lap when guys know that there's no chance for a caution. they don't have to worry about it. Kevin Frey sits third. We talk about how good he is at pushing. We'll see if he maybe thinks about being the first guy to make the move. See if he can be the best leader for those last couple laps. Daniel Eberhardt, you got to think he stays tucked behind his teammate right here. But again, if he wants to make a move, he's got the opportunity to do so. Going back here, looking at these guys potentially for the final time, because we'll have to probably keep it up front after. The gap now is at 10, almost 11 seconds. So unless something crazy happens here, it's not looking like these guys are going to have enough time to catch up, which is unfortunate because the strategy initially looked like it worked out pretty well. Ken McCall Jr., Ron Morse Jr., and John Ward all pit together. They were making a ton of time. And then all of a sudden, after Ron Morse Jr. unfortunately got into the bad side of John Ward, he got spun around the wrong way. Ken McCall Jr.'s got some damage as well. So does the 76. This group just really hasn't been able to get anything going. Shout out to Ron Morse Jr. He is the owner of the Tuesday Night Thunder Series. Make sure you go check that out. That will be broadcasted here on Ghost Racing Network on Tuesdays. Looks like Austin Floyd and John Ward Jr. have found each other. Sorry, not John Ward Jr., just John Ward. But the pack is starting to make their way up to him. These two lap trucks, we'll see if they play a factor in anything, but I don't think they will. And Mike Toomer Jr. currently last place, sitting in 14th. He is down only a lap, so if we were to somehow get a caution, he would be back in it, assuming that he doesn't get involved. But he has not had the best night. This guy's got speed, unfortunately. Just a mistake with not taking the fast repair as he got in that incident early. Only one caution here tonight as well. I know we had a smaller field, but nonetheless, one caution at any super speedway is always a win, at least in my book. Dylan Jones still continue to keep everybody single filing in line. Further back, you can see some of the trucks that were maybe leading earlier. They look like they're saving a lot harder now. They must be hurting on fuel. Some of those drivers being Danny Eshelman, Matthew Patton. But Nashburn and Billa looks like he's ready to go. So does John Ellis Jr. We're going to go 3 wide here as they come up on the lap truck. John Ellis Jr. sees that, and he's going to tuck back in line. They're trying to use these lap trucks as an extra draft. Chad Ross, he's going to have to go 3 wide. I don't think he's going to have enough momentum this time. Now Kevin Fraze, he is looking to block. Chad Ross is going to have to tuck in behind him. The race is going to get started earlier than we expected with 7 laps to go here at Daytona. Kevin Fraze, if he gets clear, I don't know if he's going to drop low, but Chad Ross and Ashburn Billa, they are ready to go. We'll see, do they go 3 wide or do they stay behind the 25 truck? Chad Ross is going to force it 3 wide, and just as you'd expect, Daniel Eberhardt, he sees that, and he's going to make sure he helps out one of his teammates in Kevin Fraze. Dylan Jones, Daniel Eberhardt now side by side. Here comes the 3rd lane up top. They've only got 2 trucks. You got to wonder how long can they make it work. Kevin Fraze pushing the heck out of Daniel Eberhardt in the middle line. Jason Maines also on the bottom, the solo pusher of Dylan Jones. Right now, the middle looks like the place to be, but that top line can't seem to get anything working while they continue to stay 3 by 3. And we'll see, does Daniel Eberhardt think about going up? No, he is very comfortable where he sits right now in front of Kevin Fraze. Looks like Austin Floyd, who used his fast spare, he still might be racing for a lucky dog spot. In fact, he is. He's got to stay in front of that 92 of John Ward if he wants to get it. But 3 by 3 coming to the line to take 5 laps to go here at Daytona. Who is going to win it? Remember, if we make it to the white flag without any contact, we will not have any more cautions. But of course, if they wreck, we could get a caution before then. Jason Maines still staying nice and tight to Dylan Jones. John Ellis Jr., interesting that he chose the middle. I think these guys are trying to make sure that that outside line doesn't have any chance of getting enough momentum going to get past. But with only 2 trucks, I just don't think they really have anything for him right now. As you see Jason Maines tuck out a little bit to the left, trying to get some fresh air to that truck. He is going to need all the temps in the world for that last lap when it comes down to push and shove. Track temp has cooled off just a little bit. It's just a quick note that we remind you of, so that should help. Actually, who am I kidding? 3 degrees, that's not going to help the temps for these trucks at all. Matthew Patton now is going to jump back up to the top line. And that is what they're going to need. They're going to need a 3rd truck because with only 2, NASCAR and Bill is having to work a lot harder, and the progress is going to be a lot slower. 4 laps to go. You know what I do want to check in on, and actually you can see it on your scoring tower. Oh, NASCAR and Bill gets turned by Matthew Patton. Kevin Fraze goes for a wild ride, flips out of turn 2, cautions back out. That's going to end Kevin Fraze's night. And a mistake from one of the more rookie guys, if you will. And yet, right away, Kevin Fraze just brings that thing down to the pits. And tough break, but a good break at the same time for some of these drivers. Let's go back and take a look at what brings out your 2nd caution of the night and is going to send us into overtime. It looks like the 3 of Matthew Patton, was just pushing in the wrong area here. Let's check it from the spotter view. Play it slow for you here. Yeah, you see the 3. First of all, pushing the pusher, usually mistake number 1. Mistake number 2, gets on his left rear in the corner, turns him right around. That turns him into Kevin Fraze, who goes for a big shot into that outside safer barrier. Goes up and over the 68 of Austin Floyd, who if he missed that, he'll get the lucky dog position. Somehow everybody else kept it pretty clean, but Kevin Fraze, on the other hand, not the case. That is going to end his night, as we noted, as he did have to tow. More views of it here. Boy, that was a big hit. Totaled that truck immediately. Yeah, man. Kevin did not even see it coming either. He got absolutely blindsided, and it's going to take one of the major players out of this race and might shuffle some things up. You got to assume there will be an EOL penalty given to the 3 truck for that one as well. Again, we know he wasn't doing it on purpose, but unfortunately one of those mistakes that he's going to have to learn from and make sure he doesn't make it again. Got to assume that everybody that's watching tonight is our usual regulars, the guys that are used to watching. But if you're new here, make sure you go check out our Discord. We have the link in the chat. Just scroll up to the top, and we also put the link to the FEG-PC Discord in the description. Make sure you go check them out, and you get yourself in races like this. And that race we talked about earlier, got to think you would want to get yourself in that race. It is going to be a good one. Make sure you don't miss out. Reminder of where Ghost Racing Network heads next, though. And that is going to be tomorrow night to the Fast Track Sim Racing Cup Series. And that is going to be at Martinsville, Paperclip. There's going to be a lot of tempers there, especially after the craziness that we had at Bristol last week. After that, we'll head to Talladega Super Speedway. Make sure you tune in for those. We did not get the one to go this time, but I mean, it doesn't really matter because it's going to be a green-white checkered 2-lap shootout either way once we do get started. But Daniel Eberhard, I believe, should get lane choice. It'll be interesting to see what he picks. Your top 5 right now as they run is Daniel Eberhard currently leading the way. Jason Main second, Chad Ross third. Ron Morris Jr. 4th, and Dylan Jones rounding out the top 5. Ron Morris Jr., let's see, did he fix the damage on that truck? No, he hasn't. Might be a wise choice as long as he can keep up pace. No point in wasting a fast, but he might need later. And sure enough, Austin Floyd did get his lap back. And actually, let's go back and take one more look at this. Watch the job he had to do to miss this wreck. We got a ride on board. Well, first of all, let me show you the TV view of it, and then we'll show you the ride on board. Watch this. Oh my goodness, goes right under a flying 25. That was insane. And he played with fire by being up there, but it looks like luck is going to be on his side. All right, here we go. It's going to be a pretty wild ride. Oh my goodness. And I'll tell you what, with that luck right now, I wouldn't be too shocked if he ends up winning this race because it seems like he's got the luck on his side, and we are going to get the one to go signal this time. Chad Ross, not Daniel Eberhard or Jason Main's teammate. Neither is Ron Morris Jr. You'll have to go back to Dylan Jones and John Ellis Jr. to find a couple of them. So we'll see. I don't see these guys finishing 2 wide. In fact, I think they're going to probably try to get 3 wide just about as soon as they can. Remember, if we get a caution before we take the white flag, we'll rack them up and do it again. However, if we take the white flag, even if the whole field wrecks, then we are going to finish this thing under green. Thank you, everybody, for joining in tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. A little bit of a smaller field, but it's been a good race nonetheless. And we do still have 2 trucks lap down, John Ward and Mike Toomer. And let me tell you, those 2 right now are hoping that these guys can wreck 1, maybe 2 more times. But they're going to have to fight each other for the lucky dog. So even though they're lap trucks, they're not going to be able to sit back, and they're going to have to get in on the action. Working their way through turns 3 and 4 now. They will get ready to go green. Daniel Eberhard is on the bottom. Jason Mains up top. And then it's Chad Ross, Ron Morris Jr., Dylan Jones, Danny Eshelman. And look to see Danny Eshelman and Ron Morris Jr. go around the top side. The only problem is top lane's only 3 trucks right now. So if you make a 3rd lane, you're going to go down to 2 trucks. Just don't think that's your best option right now. But we'll see what they decide to do. pace car pulls off, it could be the final restart, or we could be racking them up to do it again momentarily. Here we go into the Geico restart zone. Daniel Eberhardt sees the green flag. Nash Brambilla already jumps to the outside line, but Daniel Eberhardt, Jason Maines, they get a pretty even start. They draw side by side down the short chute into turn one. Jason Maines really got side by side. Ron Morris Jr. blinking. Oh, and he's wrecking. He's wrecking off the track. That was a very odd looking wreck. That's going to collect somebody else. Couldn't tell who it was. We stay green. Oh my goodness. It was a very odd look. Oh, it's Dylan Jones. We'll have to take a look back at it. That was a very odd looking wreck, but up front they stay green and side by side. Daniel Eberhardt, Jason Maines are together on the bottom. Now we see Chad Ross and Danny Eshelman. And I thought for sure we would have saw Daniel Eberhardt drop low, but no, he's going to stay high. John Ellis Jr. on the bottom. They're going to need a push, though. He's not quite there. Nash Brambilla, does he look to take it 3 wide? No, he stays tucked behind Jason Maines. Here we go. White flag in the air one more time around Daytona. Daniel Eberhardt high. Wow, just about the whole majority of the pack that's up here has now moved to the high lane. Nash Brambilla's looking to get clear. Now he dives low, gets below Jason Maines. Jason has to go back up top as Daniel Eberhardt's going to fend low. He's got to be careful. He's got the... Oh, Nash Brambilla gets turned. Can he hold on to it? He does somehow. Are you kidding me? He's going to stay in the pack here, but he's going to fall to the back of the draft. That might end his race up front. Wow, they are 4 wide. And now he's going to get turned. The 23 goes around. It is now a race between teammates. Daniel Eberhardt, Jason Maines, John Ellis Jr. Who's going to win it? They got the top 3 locked up. Will we see a move here from the 6 truck out of turn 4 for the final time? No move yet. Now John Ellis Jr. jumps high, and they're going to stay single file just about to the start-finish line. Daniel Eberhardt wins it at Daytona. And that was a pretty crazy sequence of events there to end this thing. But Daniel Eberhardt comes home the victor, and a newer paint scheme. That's a new paint scheme, I believe, tonight. I've not seen that one before. It's a good-looking one, too. The Ryko and Rush Ford F-150 is going to be in victory lane, and they are going to come home with a pretty good payday as they swept those top 3 positions. And how about the rookie, Matthew Patton, after a couple mistakes earlier, brings it home 4th. Taking that final money position. I believe there was also 2 random drivers that were going to be getting payouts from this race as well. All right, here we go. They're going to burn it down here. Daniel Eberhardt going to do his signature where he slides that thing through the grass. John Ellis Jr. goes with him as well. And we will see if we can get interviews from your top 3. However, don't know if we're going to get them tonight. We'll see. Let's see. You know what? Let's see if we can get them in chat real quick.
Good pass.
Yeah, I'm in here.
Back live here at Daytona International Speedway. Let's go take a look at this whole sequence from the start. I want to start with this incident with Ron Morris Jr. Boy, this was really, really odd looking. It was like he maybe started to wreck, but he was blinking at the same time. So you couldn't tell, and nobody could really tell that he was wrecking. And unfortunately, Dylan Jones had gotten caught up in it because of that. Let's see here. Watch the 76 here. Oh man, that was netcode from something. He was having an internet issue or something. And then once it fixes itself, it turns him around. I'm not sure. That one was really odd looking. Dylan Jones gets that thing pointed in the right direction, gets back up. And then the white flag, this is where things get even crazier. Let's go up front. Nash Brambilla was the guy making the biggest moves right here. But unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say finally, but unfortunately, he did get taken out eventually. But I wasn't sure what. I think he initially got pushed in the corner. The first save that the 23 is going to make right here was absolutely wicked. Did he back that up a little more here? And it looks like it looks like they get kind of stacked up here, maybe? I'm not sure. But then he gets a bump out back from Chad Ross, and watch the hands here. Man, I don't know how he saved it here, but then this is where things get wild. They got, I think, 4 wide right here. Sure enough, yeah, they start banging doors at 5 wide just about, and then Austin Floyd eventually is going to hook Nash Brambilla around. Going back up front here, this is the race now. Well, not too much of a race anymore because these guys are teammates and they're splitting, and they just don't want to accidentally get each other wrecked right here. But John Ellis Jr. decided he tried to make a run at it here. Didn't really have much help to do so. And as they make their way to the line, your winner is going to be Daniel Eberhardt at Daytona. Slow this down. We should have your top 3 in the booth, hopefully, just about by now. And sure enough, let's go see if we got them. All right, and we're here with the top 3. Let's kick it off with John Ellis Jr. John, you got a copy.
I got you.
All right, you bring home 3rd. Looks like the team got 1, 2, 3, so you guys are sweeping the money positions. I saw that you tried to make a move there at the end, but it looks like you didn't have enough help. Overall, tell us about your race.
It was an interesting one. There's a lot of avoiding in this one. A lot of wrecks going on. Luckily we didn't get too many cautions, but I hate it for Kevin and Dylan to get taken out. But just glad we could get 1, 2, 3.
I'll tell you what, that wreck that happened with Dylan was one of the weirdest ones that I've seen in a while. It looked like an internet issue, not with Dylan, of course, with Ron, that he got collected. And either way, though, congrats on the 3rd place finish. Before we let you go, though, tonight, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Just shout out to the teammates. We've been running good all night.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks for talking to us, and congrats on the 3rd place finish.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll move on to 2nd place finisher. That's Jason Mange. Jason, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, you bring home 2nd tonight. Daniel Eberhardt gets the win. It got a little close at the line, but overall, great teamwork tonight. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that's all it was. It was teamwork. Executed on, did a little bit of different pit strategies and stuff just to, when the caution came out, just to have a different strat there. But worked really well. A lot of execution between, Dylan and I and Daniel and Kevin and John. Just that's what it comes down to.
Absolutely, and nothing too crazy to really go over this race, so unfortunately I don't have much else to ask you, but before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
I always thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Everything we do is for him. That's why we're here. Thank Ryco Performance, Lennox Industries, Bradley Mechanical. Big shout out to Daniel there. Like I said, you knew we weren't going to pass each other. We play safe. Yeah, that's what it came down. Unfortunately, it may not be the best for you broadcasting, but play safe, play smart, and then, it's not about which one of us wins. So big shout out to them. Jeff putting it on and you doing the broadcast. I greatly appreciate it. And it was fun racing with you in the race before.
Absolutely was. All right. Thanks for talking to us, man. And congrats on the 2nd place finish.
Thanks, pal. See you.
See ya. All right. Now we move on to your winner tonight, Daniel Eberhardt. Daniel, you got a copy?
I do, sir.
Well, man, I heard rumors that you were retiring. Here you come out tonight and you get the win.
Yeah, this is it for me. I can promise you, after watching many of these money races all weekend long, this is it. I'm done with this. This is it's just not fun anymore. Like, I don't say it because I want to win every single one of them. I don't mind working with a lot of people. Even I think your buddy Kenneth McCullough Jr. can take up for you with that one. I pushed him to many wins. I pushed many drivers to many wins. It's not about winning. It's about finishing with right side up. And a lot of these races don't finish right side up. And it's very discouraging because if somebody's not going to finish in the money, they just take you out. I've done it. I mean, I have done it, and it's not worth getting hot over or nothing like that. These guys come in here, and there's plenty of people that I've noticed spend a lot of money in this and get the crap end of the stick every week, and it is not fun. And I hope there's many people watching this that there is a lot that needs to be fixed. There needs to be EOLs given. There needs to be a lot of spankings. We all need them. a lot of spankings, and nobody will speak up for that. And I'm one that speaks my mind and will tell it like it is. So I believe I'm done with this. It's not in these races. It's in every single person who puts on money races. It was in my stuff, and it was getting there when I quit running them. And we need spankings. We need to settle down a little bit and think about others a little bit more.
Well, if you're going to go out on a high note, winning at the World Center of Racing. And I'll tell you what, if we had a Money Racing Hall of Fame, I think you'd be in it. But before we let you go, enjoy your retirement. Is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Yeah, you for all you do, dude. Look, me and you had many messages and nights on end about doing this, and you do it out of the kindness of your heart, man. And I truly like that about you. I got to thank, my God for everything he does for me and my family. I got to thank my wife who puts on with the Sim Racing Madness. Like you can just tell in my voice that it's just not in the loops for me anymore. Like I just ain't having fun and enjoying it. So once you get that far, I'm done with it. So thank you guys for everything y'all done. Jeff, anybody else that puts on these main races, Jimmy Crow, anybody. I mean, Michael Tarasco, Ron Morris Jr., they go and put time and lick and time into this. Thank you to all of you guys. This is it for me. I'm out.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck and congrats on the win tonight. All right. And there you go. Daniel Eberhardt says he's hanging up the phone. We hate to see it because he's always one of the best out here. Keeps it exciting. But let's go over your finishing results for tonight. We just talked to your winner. That was Daniel Eberhardt, second. Jason Maines, third. John Ellis Jr., fourth. Matthew Patton, fifth. Ken McCall Jr., sixth. Chad Ross. Austin Floyd, seventh. Eighth. Danny Eshelman, ninth. Nash Brambilla, 10th. Dylan Jones. John Ward, 11th. 12th. Mike Toomer, 13th. Ron Morse Jr. And the last truck in the field tonight, and 14th was Kevin Fraze. Well, like I said, I know we didn't have maybe the biggest field and not the biggest audience tonight, but I appreciate everybody that came out. I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, I'll see you later.